Hi, welcome to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Thanks for joining the conversation. Hi, everyone. If you've noticed, I have sort of lost my voice from all of the yelling over the past weekend and extremely cold weather in Boston, my hometown where I was born between two of the biggest snowstorms in history. But I just returned from a Wah Lum family gathering, and we were there to celebrate Sifu Bob Rosen's 40th anniversary in Boston, Chinatown. Which, for those of you who are unfamiliar, my father started teaching in the Boston area back in the 60s and 70s. Actually, officially, it's 55 years this year. And Sifu Bob is one of his disciples and longest students that continued the tradition in Chinatown after he moved to Florida. And this weekend, we celebrated his 40th anniversary of being there, carrying on that tradition in Chinatown. And it was more than just a milestone. It was a testament to the strength of our community, the deep roots of our traditions, and the unbreakable bonds we share through our martial arts journey. Schools from Orlando, Knoxville, and Germany had the opportunity to gather in our, Boston roots and see all of the New England schools. We went to Boston, Malden, Quincy, Methuen, and Taunton. For those of you not familiar with the Boston area, those are all different cities. And while mileage-wise, they aren't very far apart, it could take over an hour plus to go 6 to 7 miles in that area. So it was quite an undertaking to try to squeeze all of them in one trip. And it's the first time that we've done that. So it was just overwhelming. The hospitality we received and the spirit of Wah Lum being so alive in every interaction, performance, and exchange was incredible. And what makes a gathering like this so unique is its ability to bring people from all walks of life together. Different ages, backgrounds, beliefs, all uniting around something central. And that is the Wah Lum system, a unique gift that my father has given to this world. And in today's complicated dynamic, to say the least, where division is what makes headlines, we are reminded that traditions like ours have the power to transcend differences and bring people together in a shared experience. Kung Fu and Tai Chi is more than just movement. It is discipline, philosophy, and a way of life that fosters respect, perseverance, and unity. The weekend was filled with historic walks, family visits, performances, and most importantly, moments of connection, plus a lot of really good food. The students had the opportunity to socialize with their Wah Lum cousins. While Sifus gathered and shared stories of their journeys throughout the years, it was just a reminder that our practice is not just about the individual. When you go to class, you think it's about yourself. You go, you do your workout, you take class for yourself. But when we were there all together, all these different schools, and like I said, Sifu Torsten coming all the way from Germany, it really felt like it was about contributing to something greater than ourselves. And it was about carrying on a legacy, supporting one another, and ensuring that these traditions remain strong for generations to come. I saw it in every single student. There were some really tiny humans there that were practicing as well as performing throughout the weekend. And it was just so exciting to have that energy. And the energy in Boston Chinatown was just electric. Of course, we're celebrating Sifu Bob's 40 years of dedication, his commitment to preserving and passing on these traditions that has shaped so many lives. And this weekend was a true reflection of that impact, not just in Boston, but around the world. And to see so many students and instructors and supporters come together in honor of the milestone was really inspiring and just reinforcement of why we continue to do what we do. You know, there are days where Oscar and I wake up and think, oh gosh, how many classes do we have? And do we really need to go in today? It's been a really long week or day, et cetera, et cetera. But every time we have the privilege of teaching our classes and lighting those incense to start class and doing our routine, and we realize what a difference we are making. And the fact that some students let us know and tell us, hey, you are keeping me afloat. This has been a really rough time, whether it was through the pandemic, whether it's through tough points in their life, whether it is just through family strife and just the daily challenges of work and just having a moment to yourself. The fact that we make such an impact is what keeps us going. I've also noticed our attention spans are very, very short these days, myself included. I am a huge multitasker, which apparently multitasking is actually inefficient. I don't know if I agree with that, but I can't even wait for a web page to load. I'm like looking at a different window. I've got dual monitors going so that I can work while this is happening. And I just realized sometimes I need to just take a moment. And as humans, I think we're losing a lot of patience, and rightfully so. There's a lot to be very impatient and angry about as we look around and see what's happening to education in the United States and what's happening with just our day-to-day quality of life and living and things being attacked, right? And so to walk into the Chinatown school and see Sifu Bob sweeping the stairs very methodically and lighting incense with reverence, it was really inspiring to remind me that I needed to take a breath, that even during this whirlwind tour, which I had 20, people from Orlando, plus we had 6 people from Knoxville. And like I said, Sifu Torsten from Germany was with us. It was a lot of humans to gather and lead. And we were going to go from point A to point B to C and D, like with 12 to 14 hour days. It really reminded me to take a moment and to take a breath and to take a beat and just kind of be able to live in a little bit of stillness. It was a visual as well as a mental reminder, right? And I was so excited though to show my students this historic Boston, and not just the American history side of Boston, because of course we have a lot going on in the American history side of things in Boston itself, but Wah Lum history. Wah Lum has roots in this old city, and we walked the streets of Chinatown where Grandmaster Chen lion danced for Chinese New Year in the 60s and really elevated the performance art form of it and brought something new that many people have never seen. I mean, the man decided, hey, why don't we take a telephone pole, like a big log, and I'll just climb all the way to the top and lion dance at the top of that while you march along the street with this pole. Hey, why don't I jump off a 2-story building in snow to show everybody how lions can fly and leap and land like, the big feline cats that they are. So it was just incredible to walk around and see that energy. It was also a little bit sad to see how much Chinatown has changed, how many of the old bakeries and restaurants and places have closed, where generations of families had been having their business and serving the community that have now retired and moved on. And so it was very jarring for me to see my bakery, Hing Sing Bakery, was gone. I couldn't get my Char Siu Bao and Bolo Bao where I would normally go around the corner right there on the street corner by the gate. And so it was sad in one way, but also still exciting to see that there were still pieces of the history and snippets of the roots of what my father laid down in that city, and some of the restaurants are still there. So we got to eat at Peach Farm and China Pearl and some of these staples that have so much history to it. And one of the coolest things was we went to visit a lot of the locations where my father taught. And in particular, of course, in Chinatown, the current school is on Edinburgh Street, which on the top floor of that same building is where he started teaching, as well as kind of lived across from. And then we went to North Station. And for those that have watched the documentary Pui Chang Kung Fu Pioneer, you may or may not remember the famous window that he jumped out of to confront a bully on the street that was kind of harassing students and saying racial slurs and then running down the staircases after throwing an orange. And he literally jumped out the window to stand in front of him and say, "Hey, what was that? What'd you say?" And now the building is a gym. Their pizza parlor is still on the first floor, but the second floor where the school was is now a gym. And the management team was so kind to allow 20 of us into the building because I told them this location is so important to our Wah Lum history. And I shared a bit of the story, and we were able to stand right in the place by the window where my father jumped out of. And we were able to stand in the space where, Bob Rosen, Sifu Bob, a lot of our Kung Fu elders all started their training, and just kind of feeling that history and being able to imagine the Kung Fu classes that were happening. And so I urge everybody to kind of look at your own family history, whatever that means, and explore it, because it's very, very vitalizing and recharging. And in a time where there's so much distraction of things that really aren't that important, right? Yes, of course, things that are happening in the world has importance, but at the end of the day, what we do with our energy is our choice. And for me, one of the highlights of the trip is kind of the choice that I'm making is to continue to make human connections. And we visited every single open New England school right now. And it was the first time I had done that in one go. I've, of course, been to all of the schools. Every time I go, I try to make sure I touch base and check in. And this is the first time so many of my students have even been to Boston, let alone seeing every single school. And they welcomed us not just with open arms, but with kindness and generosity and excitement. And every single visit was unique and incredible because, of course, Boston is such a dynamic city and has all walks of life. And, we were in more industrial side area of Boston, as well as the suburban area. And then, of course, city life and Chinatown. So you just get so much diversity. And when we were in Malden and Quincy, led by Sifu Mai, she, her team met us with these impressive lion dances and so much good luck because oranges, Year of the Snake plushies and banners were constantly being thrown out at us. And my students are probably feeling pretty special right now, but also maybe expecting a performance every time they walk into a room live, which could be a bit, we're a bit spoiled at this point. But also, we were welcomed into their home where we had this amazing dessert party and karaoke. And there may or may not be video out there of Sifu Tu Chung singing Eye of the Tiger. So those of you who know him know that he's a big 80s fan. But these are the things that kind of resonate as you kind of look back at the memories and think, wow, even though there are a lot of things that's happening that can be stressful, if you take a moment to enjoy yourself, be with people that you care about, eat something good, and maybe sing a little bit of karaoke, then it can take you and not just distract you, but actually just put you in a moment where you can be very grateful, but also just really having an enjoyable time and forgetting about all the cares and all the worries of the world, right? And in Taunton, again, a part of the town, a part of the Boston area where people probably don't visit very often. We were so grateful because the students and Sifu Jamie welcomed us with a feast of food, and there was even a little bit of playtime as they stretched their legs, got to know their family members. Students took off work to come and meet our team, which was so meaningful, and was just really grateful to have that experience. And we also went all the way up north to Methuen, where Sifu Mary spoiled us with this delectable gelato in multiple flavors. And our team spent a lot of time stretching out and enjoying the spacious school that she is crafted literally from scratch. Like, her floors are very unique and special. And I even heard some people, playing the Kung Fu flute downstairs. And there was some notes that were coming up as the Sifus were upstairs kind of catching up. We heard the students enjoying their time there. And finally, I can't say enough about Boston Chinatown. There was so much happening right in the heart of the city. My students got to take a class there and they were very excited. But on top of it, the class was led by their Kung Fu uncle, Sifu Bob, which was an unexpected treat. And it just shows like this man continues to impress me every single day. Not only does he show up, but he shows up and does the work. And so because he was there, because there were students there, he was like, all right, let's do this. And he led the class. And I don't know if my students realize what a special and rare opportunity that was and what a treat, but I do hope they look back and are really thankful for it. And it was just really heartwarming to see how excited he was also to work with his nieces and nephews and to just be able to have like a lot of young life into the school, because a lot of my kids are young and they were just so excited to be there. So it was really incredible. And I have always wanted, in a love-hate kind of way, to spend Chinese New Year in Boston, Chinatown. The love part is obviously because I would just want to be there during this incredible time. And the hate part is that it's always in January or February where there's snow and cold. And those of you that know me, you know that I don't do well in the cold, but we got a chance to perform in Boston, Chinatown in front of the Chinatown gates. And with 50 plus years of Wah Lum history in this unique place, we had 10 lions, a dragon, and Kung Fu performers just pushing themselves to the limit during this beautiful but very cold, in the teens day for us Floridians. But the warmth from the love and dedication of all the family members was so overwhelming. I actually didn't feel the cold. I was able to keep my hands moving with the drum, and just seeing everybody and all the colors and vibrancy on the streets of Chinatown in front of the Chinatown school with the firecrackers and the lions and dragons and Kung Fu. Oh my, it was so incredible. I don't even have the words to express that feeling. And I feel like these are the times and the moments that really, really matter. So now, as that excitement has died down, we all got on a plane and came home. But as we return to our respective schools and everybody goes back to whence they came from, Knoxville, went back to Knoxville, Germany, went back to Germany, and our New England schools are back into their daily routine. Like, here at the temple and worldwide, I feel like we're all back to Wah Lum though. So we had this incredible supercharged weekend, but we still carry with us the lessons and memories and renewed inspiration to continue training, teaching, and growing within our Wah Lum family. And for those of you out there that don't practice Kung Fu, this might have seemed like a very lengthy podcast about people you don't know, places you may not even have an interest in seeing, but I hope you also have a community in your life that you can turn to when you are stressed or when you are down or when you have a little bit of loss of hope. I am constantly in awe of how fortunate we are in our daily lives to have this gift that my Father has given to us, to have this community, to have this extended family, our chosen family. Because we all make a choice to be here. We weren't born into this. Well, okay, I was born into this, but it's still a choice. Even though there was this very underlying high pressure, like, yes, Mimi, you better do this for the rest of your life kind of thing. Ultimately, there was a moment I left Orlando and I said, okay, am I going to do this Hollywood thing? Am I going to do acting and film? And I made a choice. I just knew in my heart that I am about Wah Lum, and that lifestyle is a path that was not just laid for me, but the path that I choose. And so what makes Wah Lum so special is not just the forms we practice and the very cool weapons we learn, but the people who breathe life into the tradition every day, wherever they are in the world, every time an incense is lit and that beginning of class starts, and it's happening all around the world all the time. And it's so cool to feel that connectivity to something greater than ourselves. So I hope you guys are all hanging in there despite the madness in the world. And just remember to treasure those around you who make it worth putting one foot in front of another each day. It certainly was a great reminder this weekend for me to feel that gratitude and treasure all that I have. And I hope that you all are doing well. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your patience. I am going to be getting back to some very fun guests soon. And of course, Miosk episodes. But I just wanted to kind of share because I was so thrilled by all of the events this weekend. I thought, well, I might as well do a little mini podcast on it. So hope you're all having a great time. Thanks for tuning in. That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Please subscribe and rate my podcast on your platform of choice and leave a review. You can become a patron of the show at patreon.com/SifuMimiChan to help keep this podcast going. Follow me and interact on social media at Sifu Mimi Chan on Instagram or Facebook.